All right, what's good, YouTube? We have a lot to talk about today. Now, I was gonna release this video yesterday, but I wanted to see if we were gonna get another news that Kuro has been dropping every single day. And it seems that Kuro is gonna slow down a bit and just drop the story cinematic for Chisa. So everything that's happening in the 2.8 story is probably going to be content that's going to be here. And I'm probably expecting more news maybe late this Thursday, this Friday, because I assume they're going to drop more for maybe the Game Awards. And then that is when the real content is going to come out. Wuwa released a bit yesterday about Laharoi, and there was some new context that we didn't get to see previously. So the first thing that I want to talk about was Startorch Academy. This is going to be the symbol, right? And if you guys remember, lynae here has this symbol in the back. I didn't think about it at first, but it's this helix symbol, and it most likely just represents that she's a student. I don't think it's anything that complicated. But then if you take a look at the next character, which is going to be Moaning, she has this other symbol, which resembles the research institution. And we do know that she's going to be a college professor here, or, well, a professor. That also means that she's going to be part of this research institution. So she's going to be more in the advanced field. And then we also have another drop called Roya Tribe, and this is going to be something new. Now, out of all the new 3.0 characters, there was a character that looked completely different, and what I think a lot of people have figured out is probably going to be her. This is going to be the indigenous people known as Roya Tribe. And if we take a look at her markings, you can see that maybe on her legs, right? There's like these ancient writing marks, whatever. And yeah, it only gets better because when we take a look over here, it's going to show us about the Startorch, right? We've seen this already in game, and according to Chisa, this is what it's going to look like. We did see this in a preview if you were doing the story. And then we see this over here, this Bajar tier wood. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right. It kind of reminds me of what's the place in Genshin? Sumeru. This reminds me of Sumeru with all of like the green grasses. And then we have this sort of creature over here that is likely gonna be similar to like a Sealy, right? Or maybe the Aranara. I think the Aranara is the right word to explain. Yeah, they're going to be like these little helpful creatures. At first, when it was in JP, I thought they were similar to that. But at the same time, it could have also been maybe like some sort of echoes that we didn't know. It probably is going to be an echo. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that these tiny creatures aren't going to be one. And when this comes to mind, I was wondering, it says right here, these creatures only approach people they trust. So in my mind, there has to be someone that is essentially like the mother nature of this land. And this is where I think Sigrika is going to come in, because she's probably going to be like the indigenous of this area. So maybe they'll recognize her. And one of my belief is that she could potentially have ties in with the Sentinel, considering the fact that Laharoi doesn't have one. So maybe there's some kind of lead off into that in the future patches. And then we have this over here, mech echoes. Most of the echoes found in Laharoi look mechanized, and it just shows ... So the first thing that came to mind here is going to be Gundam. This looks very similar to one of the characters I've seen. We got like that sort of shield looking sword. And another thing that I thought of when I saw this antler deer, I'm thinking of Bakugan, because in, I believe, Mectanium Surge, I think that's how you say it, season 3 or season 4, they had like a bunch of these like Bakugans that basically could assemble, and they were also using like these futuristic mechanical type. So there could be ties from that, and I'm looking forward to what we can have. You can see these kind of echo this one over here. We got like magnetos, we got plus minus, and they seem to be like together. I'm wondering, just wondering if the echoes could like actually combine together. Maybe it will actually get like some sort of like big robot, and it turns into like a calamity monster. That could be something new. All right. And then we have one part that seems to be raising a lot of questions is we're going to have a new mechanic for Wuwa. And this is going to be the tuner ability, which at first glance it looks like it's new, but after you take a look at it, it's basically something that's already in the game. Now, we can take a look at this real quick. I do have a video to show from literally 1.0. Okay, if you played this game at launch, chances are you've touched it. And additionally, we also have some in game, which I'm sure some of you guys are aware of. So basically, you're going to see this bar on the top left of this monster, right? It's kind of like, I would say the concerto bar. It's going to start at 0 as you build up attacks, dodge, etc. It's going to fill up. And then there is going to be... this is going to be new, okay? I guess they added this. But essentially, you're going to see like this shiny glow button. It's just going to be really directly in front of you. And you can't miss it, okay? Like there's absolutely no way you can miss it. And once you break that, essentially it's going to stop the pattern of the mobs. Now, I'm curious because if this applies to boss, that means those annoying monsters like Memphis Tempest or something, when he does like aerial attacks, and you can't like... Usually you wouldn't be able to knock him on the ground. You have to wait like seconds or etc. So if this applies to them, then we might have a new way to stop them from doing that. And you think of like, for example, a Dragon of Dirge, when he does like his spinny tornado, right? Let's say you knock him out before he does that. That just saves you like a bit of 3 seconds in like the TOA, or maybe even more. So this is going to be footage from 1.0. Credits to this person. Okay. Now the banger music is insane in 1.0. And you can kind of see there, the F button is right there. Let me just go right back and we just full screen this as well. You can kind of see that it's pretty obvious that you can do an extra attack right here, an F button. And then Rover's going to get a special animation at the very end. Now, I've been complaining about this. Well, I wouldn't say I was complaining, but I've been requesting this in the 2.8 survey, I believe, if not the 2.7. But I do recall saying I wanted this because I didn't understand why haven't seen a lot of content creators bringing this up. This was in the 1.0 when we were doing the unit, when we were doing the story. But then after that, we never saw it. And I was just like... What happened? What happened to it? I like how this is called like immobilize tutorial or whatever. But yeah, you can kind of see that this ideally should apply to every single echo, not just like the 3 costs, not just the 1 cost. Right? It might apply to bosses too. And if we want some more context to this, then we're gonna have to switch over to over here. All right. And Tactical Simulacra, it's going to be the current event, the battle event that we've been asking for. Surprisingly enough, this one has been really easy. I don't know what happened to it. Tactical Simulacra used to be very difficult for new players. I would say that you needed a decent amount of knowledge. But maybe it's because of these new buffs that's been making it very easy. So... let's talk about some of the buffs we could use here. Triggering Toon Break, Spectro Frazzle. Alright, let's try this. I'm gonna be honest, I've just been using Zani because I feel like it's one of the best character to test out this Toon Break, and she can parry yourselves. So you just get more context and content. Let's see. Let's go with this. All right, and yeah, I mean, look at that. It's kind of obvious, right? When that thing's spectral frazzle. So we're just gonna run my current favorite team, these three, and yeah, let's just check it out. Okay. I mean, those are some tuners, I guess. Okay. Okay, so we get this Lampy Lumen. Okay. Skill, Echo, Burst. Let's just build up the stack with some basic attack. Now we hold Enhance, and then we attack. Uh-oh. Right here. Okay. You can kind of see at the very top left. Oh, shoot. That's going to be like the shield. Excuse my rotation. I'm not usually this bad. And then you can kind of see that the more I do a damage, the shield on the top left next to the level 90 is just building up. Now this is me parrying. And once I parry, you see how it's in red? That's oh, no, I missed it. Oh, I missed it again. Again, I think I should be able to do it right here. Yep. Look at that. And then you can kind of see that there's a Karasaurus that's just going to appear there, which is really cool. But yeah. With the slam right there, skill, burst. It's going to die, but the shield is most certainly filling up. Oh, there's one more? Oh, perfect. I was wondering why I was... Okay. We're going to do the skill here. Okay. Alright. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't parry that. That's perfectly fine. And it's okay if you don't parry, because this new mechanic is honestly really helpful. We're at halfway shield. Okay. Uh-oh. Now, with a bit of Zani's attack here, I think we most certainly gonna get it. Oh. Karasaurus? Okay. And then you can kind of see that there's like a link or whatever at the very top, which is really cool. And I should be able to do, yep, final Nightfall rotation, and we're pretty much done. But yeah, that's just going to be the example of it. So it's already in game. If you want to try it out, just get onto this current event here. You have 14 days to do Tactical Simulacra. There's obviously going to be some nice rewards here, right? And yeah. And the final thing that I want to talk about is something that has been bugging me, or more like bloomed in me, because I was thinking over about the new content that Wuwa has been dropping, and what a lot of people haven't been thinking of is we're going into this new region. What exactly could Rover's element be? And I first thought about this, and I didn't think too much about it until I noticed that the new characters are gonna be what? We got Spectro over here. Okay, Fusion over here, and Spectro. Right now, Lynae is gonna be a Spectro pistol user, and then Moaning is gonna be Fusion Broad Blade. What does this mean? When it comes to Wuwa's character, they always have a habit of releasing a support, and then they release the DPS. And this is what I mentioned back in the earlier video, but this part didn't occur to me. If Shisa is a support, then Lynae is most certainly going to be the DPS, right? So we're going to have essentially, potentially, a Frazzle DPS using pistol. And I have a lot of hopes for Lynae because they could cook up so much with a motorcycle, I'm not going to lie. And especially when she's carrying 2 pistols, there could be some crazy stuff going on. But then we have to think of Mornye. This character is going to be a Fusion Broad Blade. And what does this mean? if Mornye is a fusion support, it's very highly likely that she's going to be under the new content, which is fusion burst, okay? And what I think is going to happen is Rover is going to be fusion, okay? I think I figured out the puzzle. Rover has to be fusion. And what happens here is he's going to be probably a really cool DPS fusion character, and I guess Moaning is going to be a character that's going to support her. So, or support him or her. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I hope that's going to be the case. Now, I don't look at leaks, so if this is wrong, then I'm tweaking out. I apologize. But I think I really figured out the element. And if we think about everything that we've seen here, if you take a look at the order in which negative status have been put, okay, I guess this is not the correct way to put it. We take a look at the old one. This is what the first one looks like. Arrow erosion. Now, while this was ongoing, the first thing we had was Spectrofrazzle, and you had Phoebe. And the next following element to that was arrow erosion, which you had Cardathea, you had Shakona, and finally, we have Havoc Bane because of Shisa, right? So, if we're going in this order, then it most certainly means that Fusion Burst is probably going to be in one of the new units. But it's really highly likely that Mornye is going to be a support. So what does that mean? Another character already in game has to be fusion, and that's going to be Rover. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking. That's what I've been feeling. So hopefully I am right on the mark with that. I'm probably going to be expecting Glacio in 3.1 because one of the upcoming characters, I think we get like the Herman guy. What are my thoughts for 3.1 characters? I feel like Sigrika has to come in if she ties in with like what they did with like Sentinel for like Cardathea. She probably is going to be in 3.2. So I'm thinking 2.1. We're probably going to be looking at something like Luke Herson. I feel like even though he screams arrow, this guy might actually just be Glacio. And then Lucilla, she could fall into I really want to say she's going to be Electra, but it honestly couldn't make sense too, because would they realistically put an Electro on a character that screams Electro? That's not Kuroways. So maybe she could be Glacio as well. But my bet is on Luke Herson. Honestly, Sigrika might just be Electro. I'm not gonna lie. It could be anything. But yeah, that's gonna be all for this video. Was there anything that I missed? I think I pretty much covered all through everything. And yeah, if there are any more content that's going to be dropping, I'll be sure to check it out. But in a few days, I'll probably be up and about, so we'll be having a new station for temporarily. But yeah, that's going to be about it. I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.